we accept the minutes as written with the exception of the corrections that are all minor ones, and especially the two name changes.
Okay.
I second.
They have a motion and a second. Discussion. Any discussion?
No.
If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion passed. City Council Liaison Report. The mayor is here.
That's what they call me.
We have the head guy giving the report.
Well, we had kind of a short meeting, so there wasn't a whole heck of a lot, but we did get a little bit of press from the standpoint of one of the items that I brought up during the meeting was the tax forfeit properties. Breezy Point has 462 tax forfeit lots, and I'm making it a priority to do something about that. And we're going to be meeting with the county to work on some special programs. We've also been talking with HRA, the Crow County HR Housing Redevelopment Authority. They have some programs that we can possibly utilize. I'll also be coming to planning and zoning to discuss possibly relaxing some of our structure requirements. Some of the lots that we have are too small to build on with the existing size house. And if we can reduce that size a little bit and compromise, we might be able to get some of these lots in a buildable state. So that's going to be happening, hopefully, most of this year. We'll be meeting periodically. But other than that, it was a really short meeting. Took us like about 20 minutes for a meeting, which is almost a record, I think. We did appoint a municipal advisor for to advise us on tax abatement processes. As you will be being presented tonight with the North Star project, and that's going to be getting going. Other than that, we just had some routine audit, budget transfers, and we adopted a critical incident policy for the police department, as well as we approved the fire department for the fire contract with Decoy Lakes. So that was, like I say, took us about 20 minutes to get through all this. So are there any questions?
Questions of Tom? Yes, not. Thank you.
Have a good meeting.
Thank you.
100 times more than we have at our city council. Please come and
What do you expect? We have another team to put on a show.
I will open public forum number 1. Would anyone like to come to the microphone and address the Planning and Zoning Commission? Okay, if not, I will close open forum number 1 and move to the next agenda item, which is a public hearing on a variance application by Roger and Mary Hansgard. Jerry, would you give a staff report?
Actually, let's let the applicant make a
Okay.
statement first, and then we'll get to the staff report.
Okay, that would be great.
No. Might have to stand over here.
Absolutely not. If you have a good, strong voice.
I do have a strong voice. My name is Roger Hansgard, and I'm a retired school teacher and basketball coach for 43 years. And my wife is Mary, and she was a daycare provider for 41 years. And my son Brent is in the black here by the computer. Both of us are going to do this presentation. A little bit about our cabin, first of all. We have a three-season cabin on Oxawin Key, right off of Timberlake Point, on the south shore. It was built in 1964. And when it was first built, they built it, and here's the real thing, they built the road like this. And they came along about 7 years later and decided, we need to add on. So when they added on, they came over here. And so the roof looked like this. And there were many, many times I was out on the deck and people would come by fishing and they couldn't see me and they would say, hey, look at that roof. You think the guy was slow? So as time went on, we purchased the cabin in 1986. And we had two boys. And during the time of the cabin and the family experience we had, it was great. It was fantastic. We put a new roof on it in 1999, so now the roof goes like this. And so we are asking for a variance because we want to add on a bedroom and a bathroom and so on. So that's a little history of our cabin and so on. And it is, like I said, a three-season. So because of my son in computers, this is not my thing, we presented this, this little power presentation for you, just an overview of the proposal. We wanted to add 12 feet to our cabin and just make the width, the cabin now is 20 feet. So we want to add this 12 feet width and just add a bedroom and a bathroom to it. The existing plan, right now, if we go to it, we have a total of 728 square feet. That's our total. There's a picture of the cabin. And it's just a cabin. And that is our original design. So as you look at it, the one on the far left is basically what the cabin looks like from the west side. And the one on the right, top right, is how the cabin looks from the lake side. And then the bottom is how it looks from the east side. And then how it looks from the west side. So that's what the existing cabin looks like. This is our proposal. And as I move over here a little bit, what we're attempting to do is on the left side of the screen, the 12 feet by 20 feet would be over on this side. The deck that is on the cabin is a deck that was there when we bought the cabin. So the deck is over 30 years old. I replaced the steps, I replaced the railing, I replaced deck boards. And so what we're asking for there is obviously to replace the deck, but in the meantime, I would like to just expand it by 6 feet and so on. When you get a picnic table up there, and when my son and family come up there, it gets awful crowded and so on. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do. As you look at what we have right now, and I just point over by here, the bathroom is 5 by 7. So when you look at a bathroom 5 by 7, and when my son and daughter-in-law, we have 2 grandsons, that's all we have, when they come up, it gets really crowded. One bedroom is 9 by 7. It really gets crowded. And then we just have a little kitchen, and we have, but when our family was growing up, it served the purpose. And as we have expanded and so on, it just gotten crowded. If you go to the next slide, then, the next slide is how it would look if this variance was granted. So as you look at the far left, this is how it would look from the street side. This is on the right side, the top, this is how it would look on the lake side. As you look at the bottom left, that's how it would look from the east side, and then the west side would be how it would look at the bottom of it. So that's kind of what we're proposing to do. And then that's how it would look with the new drawing. So if you look at the deck, we had 6 feet to it on the right side there, and then the bedroom and the bathroom, and then there would be a little walk-in closet to occupy that 20 feet, would be what it would look like on the left side. Very good family. That's my daughter-in-law in the middle, Jen, and my 2 grandsons, and then Mary and myself. So like I said, when they come up, and the kids are at an age right now where they come up about 6 times a year. And when they come up, it's really hard it's really hard as far as sleeping when they sleep on the floor. And if you're in this situation, you kind of understand where we're coming from. We're not asking to build 3 bedrooms. We're not asking to put on something like a swimming pool. We're not asking to do something that has a basketball court. We're just asking for 12 feet, like 20, just put a bedroom and a bathroom. That's what we're. Okay. Brent, my son is going to go through the variance as far as the practical bit. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I'll stand here, Matt. Get a little bit closer. So, thank you. As my dad explained, my name is Brent Hansker. I'm going to go over the practical difficulty for the variant. So, I understand that we have 3 points here that we need to prove: reasonableness, uniqueness, and essential character. So, we're going to walk through those one by one. First, reasonableness. Are we proposing to use our land in a reasonable manner? First, single-family dwellings are an allowed use in the R2 zoning districts, which this property is in. 2, the location of the dwelling provides reasonable access to from the existing dwelling. So why did we decide to put the addition where it is? Is it reasonable that we decided to design the addition where it is? And the reason is it provides the existing structures there and it provides access to it. 3, the dwelling addition provides a basic area to sleep. As my dad just explained, we're not, this isn't a theater room, it's not a media room, it's not a basketball court, it's really providing area to sleep. It's not a guest bedroom, it's a bedroom for our immediate family. We're not intending to bring up any more people that already come to the cabin when we come. And then lastly, we're trying to do this with a minimum amount necessary to meet our needs. And by doing this, we're only increasing the impervious coverage from 10.7% to 11.4%. So trying to do that as minimal as possible. For those reasons, we feel that what we're proposing here meets the reasonable test. That what we're proposing to use our land in a reasonable manner. 2, uniqueness. This is definitely a unique piece of property, and I'll go to the next slide here in a minute. Should I end this one? Oh yeah, sure.
Do you have, excuse me, do you have a copy of the survey?
Yes.
Do you have the bigger copy?
Yes.
Okay. I will go through that. Go ahead.
Okay, so uniqueness. Number 1, road easement. I'm going to go through 2 points here, then I'll flip the slide and come back. Number 2, Osceola McKee Lake indents at the location of the parcel, which provides less land north of Timberland. And I'll just scroll back here and go real quick. So here's an aerial of it. As you highlighted in blue is our property. As you notice, Osceola McKee indents right at our area. If you look at Timberlane Point, it's not parallel to the property, it kind of goes at an angle. So when you look at the property north of Timberlane Point, our lot is kind of disproportionately smaller north of Timberlane Point. Let's scroll back right here. Number 3, the property south of Timberlane Point is a wetland. So if you look at the survey that you have, On the south side is Timberland Point, the large part of that area to the left, to the southwest corner there is wetland. 3 private sewers and wells on the parcel and surrounding area. So when you look at the survey here, there is virtually nowhere on the property that you could put a reasonable size structure and adhere to everything in the zoning ordinance. When you look at 75 feet back from the lake, when you look at 15 and 10 feet from side yard setbacks, when you look at 30 feet from the road, when you look at the setbacks from wells and the sewer, there's virtually nowhere on this piece of property that we could put anything without a variance. For those reasons, we feel that that proves this is a very unique property and has met that uniqueness test. And then lastly, essential character, the last point of the practical difficulty test. The surrounding area consists mostly of legal non-conforming uses. So when you look along really also in McKee, but really on Timberland Point, a lot of those properties are legal non-conforming. The square footage of the dwelling with the addition would be similar, in a lot of cases smaller still than most of the surrounding area. It's a very small unit, even with the addition, it is still a pretty small piece of property. It would fit in the siding, the colors of the windows. When you look at the design, it kind of looks, it doesn't look like an addition, it looks like it fits. When you look at it from the lake, it fits in, it doesn't stick out. We adhere to the side yard setbacks, so it doesn't look like it's encroaching on the side. On the front of the elevation, it's just extending out. It wouldn't change the essential character of the area. It looks like it fits. And so really, so just to summarize, that's our understanding of practical difficulty. Those are the 3 areas that we need to meet. We feel that what we're proposing is to use our land in a reasonable manner, and all the points there for reasonableness. It's definitely a unique piece of property for the points that we talked about, and we feel like it's not changing an essential character. So for those points, we feel that our proposal has met the practical difficulty test. That I'm done, so any closing?
Yeah, any questions or anything?
Questions at this point?
Well, you owned the property when the last variance was approved, wasn't it?
In 1990, we asked for a variance.
For the garage?
For the garage, yeah. And we wanted to go a little farther this way, we wanted to go a little farther that way, but because of our drain field, because of our road easement, because of the drain field and the neighbor and so on, the variance was granted on this area. We went through the thing about 2 years ago, if I could just interrupt you there. 2 years ago, we had a sand point, and our sand plant went. And so I called Blue Water. And Blue Water came out, and I said, okay, I need a well, because they won't allow us to do this. And he said, where do you want the well? And I said, well, I'm pointing. And I said, well, how about over here? So he called me back the next day and said, you can't put it over there. He says, it's too close to your neighbor's drain field. So I said, oh, okay. I said, well, how about over here? And he called me back, said, can't put it there either. He said, you're too close to that neighbor's drain field. So I said, how about there? And he said, well, it's too close to the lake. You can't put it there. So then we called the state of Minnesota, and the state of Minnesota came out, and the inspector, and looked at the lot. And, wow, okay. Looked at the lot and said, put it right there. And so.
Is that where it's shown now, the little W on?
The little W is where the well is, and we knew we had to be, the state requirement, we had to be 5 feet from that well. And so that's why we decided to go 12 feet. And 12-foot mark is the within that well. And that well was put in, it will be, the well was 2 years ago last October.
Larry?
Not at this point.
Okay. Peggy? Roger?
No?
Okay, thank you for your presentation. Jeremy?
I have to follow that?
Yes. Yeah.
Again, the request by the hand guards is to expand a legal non-conforming use. It's considered a legal non-conforming use because the existing dwelling is within the 75-foot required setback from the OHW. The request is to construct a 12 by 20 addition on the west and to expand a deck from 12 by 13 to 18 by 13. The property is located on Timberlane Point. The total lot area is 37,544. It has an existing dwelling and a 24 by 30 foot detached garage. The porch of the existing dwelling is actually only about 14 feet from the OHW. And I think that's the porch, but the furthest point forward. And the property is also divided by a 50-foot easement for Timberlane Point Road. The easement provides public access to this property and neighboring properties and is maintained by the city of Breezy Point. The dwelling was built, variance was issued in 1980 for a setback from the road, septic setback from the road, and a variance was issued in 1990 for a detached garage 57 feet from the OHW and 6 feet from the side property line. The actual survey indicates that that garage is 8 feet from the side property line. Property is zoned R2. Normal setbacks are 30 feet from the right-of-way. OHW 75. Side setbacks 10 and 15, impervious coverage 25%, building height max 25 feet. Subject property is served by a private septic system located between the house and Timberlane Point. A compliance inspection was completed in October of 2017 and indicates that it's adequate to handle the existing and the proposed addition. The impervious coverage proposed is 11.4%. There are a number of items that the Planning Commission can review to go through as far as seeing if it meets the merits for a variance. I won't go through those. The following findings were made by me. The alleged practical difficulty is due to the division of the lot by the road easement. No other location exists on the property in which expansion can meet all the provisions of the ordinance. The property is located in an area mostly legal non-conforming uses which are serviced by private septic systems. With reasonable conditions placed on it, the variance stays within the character of the neighborhood. Single-family dwelling is an allowable use in R2 zone, and the property owner is proposed to use the property in a usable manner consistent with that of properties in the area. The following findings of fact may be used to support the denial of a variance request. The Commission finds no practical difficulty in the continued use of the existing structure provides for reasonable use of the property. The property owner is not deprived of rights, but would be deprived of their desires. Planning Commission may, by resolution, choose to approve or deny the variance request, and the resolution should state clearly the reasons for approval or denial of the request. If approved, the staff recommends that the following conditions be placed on the variance. Building permit shall be obtained prior to any construction activity. Given the close proximity to the lake, gutters should be placed on the buildings with downspouts directing to an on-site treatment area, such as a rain garden. erosion control to be constructed and maintained until landscaping and turf are reestablished. The lowest floor elevation shall be a minimum of 1209.8.
Questions of George? Roger?
No.
Peggy? Barry?
Yes. We take a vote here?
No. Go ahead.
One of the questions I have is not that we blindly follow recommendations of the experts in this area. We might want to rely on what is your general opinion, because you are an expert, kind of. Either one of them.
That's not my pay grade. If,
You made recommendations before.
in the past, we haven't, since I've been here, we haven't dealt with a variance like this. So I didn't know where the planning commission was leaning one way or the other, and I hadn't had a lot of history as far as how to look back and see what had been done in the past. In the past, the variances that have been granted for expansions of non-conforming use haven't been in the front. They've always been towards the back, towards the road on lake properties. That has been the variances that we've seen within the last 5 years. I think we saw one variance that was towards the lake that I think after review, we all believe that it probably, it was approved, but it probably was approved for the wrong reasons. It really wasn't a practical difficulty. It was because someone wanted something when they had alternatives. This one doesn't really have a lot of alternatives. The only alternative I could see that would be possible would be to shoot it out the back of the structure towards the garage. That's the only one I can see other than. So I believe the request is reasonable. I believe that it's increases the livability. You know, I wouldn't want to recommend denial, but I think we need to make sure that we, again, when we look at something like this, we're doing the best that we possibly can to preserve the integrity of the lake and the neighborhood.
Thank you.
Tracy?
My sense is that you know, rules and regulations are not necessarily meant not to be reconsidered, but basic objective is to get properties back farther from the lakefront. Okay, this is already there, and you are expanding your variance. I mean, it's already there, but we're letting you get even bigger, and my concern is, does it set a really bad precedent over the future items that might come before this? The other thing was that theoretically, had you not built your garage where you built your garage, you could have gone backwards and done essentially the same thing, and then perhaps placed the garage closer to the road. I don't know, but those are my thoughts. You've done a nice job of making the presentation. It looks like it looks good, and all that being said, I would support it.
I will ask, oh, excuse me, Peggy.
Yeah, and I guess I'm looking at the picture there too, and I drove over and looked at the property. You know, if we were ever going to deny it, the porch out front probably should have been the time to do it. In essence, it's not